Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners or custodians of the land we are now meeting on, and also to their elders, both past and present. Now, the Fairbridge Bringerup project, which I'm presenting today, looks at retention for Aboriginals in the mining sector. But before we go into that, I'd really like to give you a bit of background of where that come from. Because you just don't bring one of these programs up and go, right, here we go, we're going to be very successful. It took a few years in the making to get to it. And what the background was for that, in about 2007, I was employed by our department to look at how effective our training was for prisoners. Were they getting the right sort of industry training? And were they being taken up by industry? As you can gather, being a registered training organisation in the prison, people aren't going to give you very much feedback to how successful your training was when they left prison. You couldn't even get one survey back. So I had a look at what was happening, and by chance we were having very good success in what we were training prisoners to do. We were hitting what industry wanted. However, that was more by choice or by good luck rather than planning. And what it really highlighted to me that we do a lot of things in the prisons over Australia, not just in Western Australia, that people aren't aware of, that industry aren't aware of. They look at too much Foxtel and they see America's hardest prisons, lock the door, and that's what they think our prisoners are like. And they're all in segregated groups, Aboriginals, Hispanics, and they fight each other every day. When you bring industry into the prisons, they suddenly realise how effective our training is and what we actually do in prisons. This was not happening in Western Australia. We were very insular in our approach. We looked at, once they left the gate, we waved them goodbye and that was it. And hopefully they wouldn't come back. Hopefully doesn't cut it. They kept on coming back. So in 2008, I set up the Prisoner Employment Program. This allowed minimum security prisoners to leave the prison prior to their release to enter the community to do various activities. Some of those activities were job seeking, some of them were looking at work experience, also training, education, and the big carrot was employment. And that's how we got our foot into industry. That's how we looked at linking up with industry and how we can assist. And what sort of training we can do in the prison system. We're pretty unique in the prison system. Without using the same old pun, we've got a captive audience and we can develop the training packages to suit industry needs. And those needs are completely different between different prisons. So working out at our industries, we can start developing training packages for doing that. So what are some of the aims of the Prisoner Employment Program? What we're trying to do is do a seamless transition into the community. How often have you trained a person from when they first come in, and as soon as they leave the gate, there's a car waiting outside, a slab of beer and a bong ready to go. I'm back in the community. I'm back in society. We didn't have that link from when they left prison to afterwards. And the Prisoner Employment Program develops that link and develops a link with the employers. So that when these guys are employed prior to leaving prison, there's that connection. So hopefully when they leave prison, the only thing that changes is where they sleep at night. They've got the connections that we've developed. They've got a post-placement support officer, which I have, that deals with these people deals with prisoners and employers afterwards. Employers start to recognise that. If they get someone from the paper, they don't get that sort of support. And they also recognise that prisoners are trying to prove a point. They're trying to prove that they've done their time and they're trying to be better. And they get much better workers out of that. One of the things we looked at was this Prisoner Employment Program only developed from the last 12 months of the sentence. We weren't linking people into developing a whole through care model where we could look at the potential of employer, what sort of training they needed, and run them through a whole set of programs prior to release. And we called that the Career and Employment Services. And what that does is it takes people from orientation right through to post-placement and develops a work plan for them. And that's where this Fairbridge Bringerup project started coming into being. We started to link into employment and we started to link into industry. Western Australia still has a very booming mining industry, and we had a lot of employers coming and saying, look, you've got a lot of Aboriginal people in your prisons, we want to take these Aboriginals on. But one of the things I really was very strong on is what are they going to do with these guys? The major factor or the major challenge facing the mining industry is the retention of Aboriginals. The key word there is the retention. I can open all my prisons up north and let them all go out and they'll be employed by the mining industry. But if you go back in a month's time and say how many are still there, I don't think it would surprise you how many numbers would still be there. It's a retention that they need. And most of these mining companies were just doing the tick and flick. Yes, we've taken on 100 Aboriginals. We've done our job. There was really only one organisation, which was Biz Industries, that started sitting down with us, and this program took about 18 months to develop before we even started recruiting for it. So it was a collaboration between industry, also government and community, and that was the first time that this has ever been done in corrections in WA, having a tripartite agreement with the whole three areas. Industry put about $4 million as a kick-off to start off this program, so they weren't mucking around. And they don't do that just, out of the goodness of their heart. They looked at the economic benefits of this, and if we can get people to be retained in the industry and then start looking at intergenerational change, they could be very economically better off in that regard. One of the things that this program really hit forward was that they guaranteed a job at the end of the training program. That's a big carrot for anyone. Most of the Aboriginal prisoners in our prison system were in some respects overtrained. They were giving every bit of training that was available, but there was no result at the end. This training program delivered a guaranteed job at the end of it. So when they're released, they were guaranteed that job. The selection process was pretty tough, and there was a no tolerance approach. If one of these guys stuffed up at any part of the program, they were not only pulled out of the program, they were taken from that home prison so that they wouldn't infiltrate any of the other people. We only had to do that once or twice before the message got through that there's a no tolerance approach. But the big reward at the end was there's a guaranteed job. The training program was just not a training program. It had a whole lot of factors involved in it. You can train anyone to operate a machine. Sorry, I take that back. I've tried. I still can't do it. So you can train almost anyone to drive a machine, but it's all the other life skills. It's all the other cultural issues that are involved in Aboriginal factors. We case managed these guys on a weekly basis, and we also had mentors. One of the major things that we found was mentoring was the most successful part of the program. And it's not only mentoring the prisoners, it's mentoring their families. So we have a male mentor who deals with the prisoners on a daily basis, and we have a female mentor who deals with the families. And these families are involved in the program. So it's just not another training program. The three partners was Biz. Biz, I don't know if you are aware of who Biz are, but they're Brambles, the old Brambles. They're now called Biz, and they're one of the biggest logistical mining companies in Australia. They have mine sites everywhere. Most of the major miners don't take on their own staff. They do it through logistical companies and also through other means. To give you an example, we had one prisoner on this program who come from Queensland. As soon as he was released, he was found a job in Gympie. So the program works on a national basis. The training is over a 20-week period, and before they can get on to any of the yellow gear, which is the big machines, there's about $20,000 worth, $20 million worth of machines that Westtrac donate to us, and Caltex donate all the fuel. So this program was just not a program put together. We had to get sponsors and we had to get people to facilitate the training as well. That's where I failed my machinery. They won't let me on the machines. I didn't even get past the simulators. But they've got to do the simulators before they can get onto any of the machines. There's some classroom-based training, but the majority of it is on the machines and also doing life skills. That training room that you can see there was actually built by another group of Aboriginals trainees on a construction course. So they actually built that in the grounds of Fairbridge Village. They replicate a day on the mining industry. So they start off with a debrief and a toolbox, and at the end of the week they do a complete weekly debrief, and there's a zero harm occupational health and safety program that goes with that. So okay, how's this different? One of the things is the officers. Can anyone spot the officer? Yeah, it's a guy lying in the front. His name is Mr. McCulloch, affectionately known as Chainsaw. So if you know what McCulloch is, it's a chainsaw. So this is the whole beauty of this program. It hasn't just infiltrated to the prisoners, it's gone right through the prison system, to the officers as well. It gives the officers an opportunity to do the course with them. These officers, if they go on this course or look after this course, are expected to do the training with the prisoners. And yes, we've lost 2 officers to the mining industry. But good luck to them. Good luck to them. It's a situation now where we had officers previously going, all these training, what the heck. Now we have to put expressions of interest out because there's so many people. The unions got involved because we're selecting people without a proper selection process. So it's starting to infiltrate all through the prison system and people seeing the benefits of this program. There's a simulated mine site out in the village of Fairbridge. Fairbridge is the village that used to be a hostel for the old English or the young kids that used to come through in the 40s, 50s and 60s. And there's a simulated mine site there and we use heavy equipment to do that. There's also, we're on Paccoa land as well, so they have mining operations there where we can do some other stuff there as well. These guys do reparation work with the machines as well in the village. They grade roads so they can keep up their skills as they go along. It's a holistic program. One of the major things that we've found is the cultural awareness. One of the things that people really aren't aware of with most of the Aboriginal prisoners we have, if they don't even connect to their own culture. We non-Aboriginal people have more cultural awareness training than these guys even know about. It's pretty amazing when you get the mentor getting with these guys and after 10 weeks they suddenly discover who they are and what they are and it suddenly turns them around. And that's one of the major components of the program. There's a lifestyle development program, and as you can see, these guys get up in the trees and start doing all their abseiling, etc. But it's more team building, the old outreach type situation. But we look at fitness as well, because these guys have got to be fit to do the mining industry, and it's all preparing them for a cultural situation in the mines. As I said, the mentors are very, very important in this program. One of the male mentors is an elder of the Bindjarra people. The program used to be called the Fairbridge Pinjarra Project, which was the lands that it was on, but the elders were so impressed with what was happening that the elder is one of the mentors now, and they've given us the name of the mob that's there, which is pretty gratifying, and they support that very well. The female mentor is pretty much underestimated. We underestimate the impact that the family has on these guys getting out. But when we bring the families in, it makes a hell of a difference, particularly the kids. We allow the kids to come in, and it's pretty mind-blowing when you see the kids sit on dad's lap and say, I want to be like you, I want to drive a truck. And that's that intergenerational change that we're trying to provoke. It's better than saying, I want to sniff stuff like you, Dad, or, I want to rob a bank like you, Dad. So it's all positive reinforcement for these guys. The female mentor sends out newsletters and gives them up-to-date information on what's going through on the program. We've connected all the courses as well, so there's different training. That guy you see in the photo there is a long-term prisoner, and what we intentionally did was we put one long-term prisoner on the program. Most of the guys that are on this program are going to be released in the next 6 to 12 months after the training happens, so that they've still got their skills going. We put a longer-term prisoner in there so that he does the next course and links those courses together, and also does extra training. For example, we can either put them through the Cert 3 service extraction, or if he's any good, we can put them through a Cert 4 training and assessment, so that he then becomes a trainer when he gets employed, not just on the machines. So we try and link up the courses, and then that guy becomes the supervisor of the course and starts being a foreman type situation. So they get the way of how it operates, and it's amazing to see these guys back in the prison system, how they link in as well. The guy becomes a bit of a mentor, and it affects them very positively in the prison system. As I say, there's 2 family days where all the families come together, and some of these people don't even know each other, but they start bonding together, they start talking about it, particularly the women and the kids. The kids start interacting with each other and seeing how things happen. They're very important. There's 2 of those, one in the commencement of the training, so that we let the partners know what this involves and what's going to happen when it is involved. Because fly in, fly out is not for everybody. It's a situation where someone's away for 2 weeks, they come back for a week, all they want to do is rest or recuperate, and the partner says, oh, I've had the kids, I want to get out of here, you look after them, the roof's leaking, the lawn needs mowing, etc., etc. So they need to have that bit of stability there, and also recognise what a FIFO or a fly-in, fly-out situation is. In some respects, the FIFO or the fly-in, fly-out situation is pretty positive for these guys, because it is more like a prison environment. You get 2 weeks up there where there's urinalysis done, drug testing, etc. They've got to be in bed by a certain time, they've got to go be in their dongers, they get up, they're regimented. It's the week that they're coming back is the problem, and that's one of the things we look at. We always get people who have been placed to come back for the next course, and they talk about what it involves, what the fly-in, fly-out involves, what are some of the issues, because even though we simulate a day, it's not like the real thing. You get 12 hours on the mine site, and it's completely different. So we always get a guy who's successfully been employed coming back and talking to them, and it really makes a difference when he turns up in an SS ute as well. So they all start to go, whoa, he's getting some money out of this. And the second family day is in the last 2 weeks, so they start looking at, we're ready to finish the course, graduation's coming up, and away we go. That's a sort of star diagram just for you to have a quick look at. As you can see there, the vocational training or the skills training is not really a major component of the course. There's a whole other range of things that we look at, and that's really been the success of the course. And we can transplant all that training onto other courses we do. So it doesn't have to be mining, it could be a whole range of other courses that we do. And we do a hell of a lot in the regions, particularly in the construction area as well, because everyone doesn't want to go into the mines, let's face it. It's one of those things where you do or you don't. You can't force people to go into it. So there's other areas that we look at. We also look at the women who can do in the building trade, they can do things in the office, etc. So what do you call them? The people that do all new start homes where they pick all the colour schemes, etc., etc. So there's a whole range of different areas that we look at and transpose all that training onto there. The course is being revised all the time. It's just not sitting there. We have different issues. All different issues come up. We have a workshop after every course. There's a steering committee that we have that's made up of the CEO of BIS, from government department, from our department, and also Fairbridge. To give you an indication of how BIS are so involved in this, on the first day of training, the CEO flies from Sydney, and this is the CEO, this is the head of the company, flies from Sydney and addresses the guy and welcomes them to what he calls a BIS family. What sort of impact does that have on these guys when they're sitting there going, I've got a job if I finish this, and this guy's flown over from Sydney to welcome me, a prisoner, to the BIS family? It's pretty powerful. So that's one of the things that they're really involved in, and it's a pleasure to see. So we also look at Certificate 3. Sometimes guys don't get parole. Though one of the factors this program is doing is assisting these guys in paroles. One of the major things when they're going for parole is that they get a job with BIS because they've done the program and it's starting to have a positive influence on the parole board. But if they don't, we continue training. They can come to the course and also get their skills upgrade or keep their skills up to date, and also do a Cert 3 in surface extraction. So there's always extra people on the course. I think I've spoken a bit about that, breaking the cycle of intergenerational issues. So we'll continue on. This is a quick grab. Kuta Cornwall, who's a Binjarra elder, and Gary, his name is. I won't give you his last name, obviously. In WA, we're a bit of rednecks, we don't give people's names out. That's their story of what the training, what it means to them at this particular point.
Fairbridge Binjarra program give these men better understanding about how to be a father, better understanding about how to be a husband to their wives, a better understanding about what their responsibilities could be in the family structure, what their responsibility to be in society. This sort of stuff, this program helps them to be able to share that with their children so they don't go back into the incarceration.
This program is about breaking the cycle. My family, the next generation could look at it a positive way, and one person could probably change about 5 people in the community. This program has given me understanding and identity who I am. It just gives me an idea of where I'm coming from and gives me some hope in the future for me. It does. It makes me feel important to myself and my family, and it
gives them an opportunity to be able to, like I said, to be able to find out there's more to life than being locked up in prison, where this Binjarra project helps them, so that gives them the tools and the knowledge to be able to pass on to their children. This is a great start in these guys' lives for their own teaching back home in their family structure. It's also a great opportunity for them to be able to find out who they are and their sense of belonging, their ownership, their identity, and this is what the Binjarra program helps them to do.
Bit of self-belief, bit of positive energy for myself to move somewhere forward in my life. I watched other people go through, and it was just something that I wanted to do. It was like a jump start for when I get released. I feel privileged to be selected, and just to be only one of 6 in the group with over hundreds of people applying for it.
Well, what we do is we do the mentoring, we come back and put things in place. We come back and ask them where they're at. From the last time, we might see them a couple of days ago, where they're at in their growth, what are some of the things that they might think they might need. Is that talking about family support, or knowing that what they need in themselves?
Every week we do a weekly debrief. We find out how the boys are going and what's working and what's not working, so we can improve the program.
The Binjarra project is, I really believe, is is a godsend for these young men in prison, to give them an opportunity to become somebody.
It makes me feel proud that I've got some other brothers on the outside willing to do something good for themselves, and it's good to see them out making a change. I mean, I'm inside and they're outside, they're making change, so it just makes me feel good.
That's just a short grab of how it affects people and how well the program's going, particularly from a prisoner's perspective. We're going through a bit of an evaluation process at the moment. We've run about 4 courses and we need to evaluate that. We have, as I said, weekly case management meetings, team briefs, course completion surveys from the guys, typical RTA type situations. But we're doing a longitudinal study with the University of WA that's going to look at it more intensely, and what sort of reoffending rates are happening and what sort of recidivism rates are happening and where these guys are going, because the mining industry is pretty transient, and some of these guys have been working for BIS and then they go off into other areas, either as supervisors or into other companies. And BIS are aware that this happens and there's no issue with that, because usually they get people back. What goes around comes around, so it's one of those issues. It's a transient type situation. So we're looking at a longitudinal study with UWA, and hopefully that'll give us some really solid data to work with. This program has had a lot of external recognition. As Wendy said, we won the 2011 Commissioners Award. We're also runners-up or finalists in the IPAA Awards. We're finalists in the Premier Awards. We won an Occupational Health and Safety in the Mining Industry Awards, and we're a finalist in some other, we're getting so many awards, I keep forgetting what awards we're getting. So, but anyway, it's been recognised as a very good program. So that's the main thing, because that then looks at support we can get. We found it very difficult, even though this program was good, to get support from our side. BIS were putting their side in, but to get government support was very, very tiring. It was a very tiring process. And finally, they come about and they've given us 3 years funding, 84 placements. So that's 84 people, Aboriginal prisoners, potentially we can get into the prison system. We've got pretty solid outcomes at the moment. We've just completed another graduation, so we've now graduated 37. None of them, one has been released already, and they've already started. The other 6 are still in prison waiting for their parole to come up, but they'll be getting jobs when they come out. And to date, we've only had 1 reoffending, so that's pretty damn good in that sort of situation. We've had a few that have left the industry, didn't like it, but we've tracked them and they're still working. So that to us is still a success, whether it's in the mining industry or somewhere else, and they're still working. So it's quite good. I'll quickly just, for your own benefit, just to give you a visual of what these guys do on a daily basis. Oh, that's another reason I can't drive a truck. You've got to be under 120 kilos. So. And that's a graduation that, the first graduation actually, and you know where you had to spot the officer before? Can you spot the good looking guy there? I can see you can after all the laughter, yeah. But that was very good. That down the bottom right hand corner, that's the CEO of BIS. He comes to the graduation as well, so he's pretty committed to this program. I'll leave you with a poem that the first group wrote. You've got to remember that these guys were in a bad situation. Their literacy and numeracy skills were pretty shot. We got them up a grade in 6 months, which is pretty phenomenal for anybody, let alone Aboriginal prisoners. And these guys wrote this poem to present at the graduation, together with a painting which depicted their journey on the project, and now every group is trying to up them in that regard. So Fairbridge are getting, and BIS are getting some really good Aboriginal art from this, as So after about the 10th one, we're going to get some really, we may sell the paintings to fund the program. So it's a band of Cooters grown from a moment of strife, now the new direction in life. Our unity is strong, our sense of belonging is to our ancestral songs. A new learning of respect through shared knowledge is now our togetherness in strength. Our commitment is to the core of our souls. Our pride has come from our forefathers of old. Through honesty and support comes a great abundance of self-worth. Through each new day, have trust and understanding for all those people that come our way. Proud Aboriginals we are. Have faith and trust in this trodden path. This is the greatest opportunity by far. A conglomerate of one, this Binjarra project will definitely succeed, culminating in all of us in the Biz family. So with that, thank you very much.